Let's talk about those Olympics. We are beach volleyballs deep in Rio 2016, and all things considered, it's going okay, I guess. It's hard to say, really, for a couple reasons. One being that I'm a woman. Shocker. Scoops! And as you may have heard, NBC's chief marketing officer, John Miller, says that when it comes to the Olympics, women are, quote, less interested in the result and more interested in the journey. It's sort of like the ultimate reality show and mini-series wrapped into one. So while I'd love to talk to you about specific events and results, I am just too distracted by how this year's games perfectly combines the barely sports-related drama of basketball wives with the looming threat of death and disease of Game of Thrones. But this may actually be a blessing in disguise because NBC has also made it virtually impossible for any other network to cover the actual sports part of the Olympics. The rules they have in place for showing footage are extensive.
Now, just to give you a quick summary, again, we're allowed to show 2 full minutes of video for our entire 6-hour show. 2 minutes. There's to be a 3-hour gap between programs we showed on, so the midday show gets nothing now. We're not even allowed to use the Olympic theme song this year. Did you know that? So I thought, you know what? Today, I'm not even going to report on the Olympics.
Good.
I'm going to report on that other event that's going on, the international athletic competition run by one of the most corrupt organizations in the world.
Oh my God, is it time for the World Cup already? I thought it was... No, of course he's referring to the Olympics. Most of us only think about them every 2 or so years, so it's easy to forget just how corrupt the International Olympic Committee, or IOC, is. But just picture the financial secrecy of FIFA, plus the athlete exploitation of the NCAA, combined with the looming threat of death and disease of Game of Thrones. Unfortunately, we only have half an hour here, so I will leave it to John Oliver to unpack all the really bad scandal stuff for you. But there is one thing the IOC and our National Olympic Committee, the USOC, have dropped the ball on that I want to address, and it's called Rule 40.
Rule 40 prevents unofficial sponsors, athletes, trainers, coaches from advertising themselves or capitalizing on their image in any way, including social media. Rule 40 was created to protect official Olympic sponsors who spend tens of millions of dollars for exclusive marketing rights, and limits the use of athletes' images from July 27th to August 24th. It also prohibits athletes from marketing themselves during the Olympics, which for some is the biggest 2 weeks of their entire career.
Yeah, so why would the IOC keep Olympians from benefiting from their athletic achievements when that's what they claim the Olympics are all about? Well, the short answer is that they're full of but you can't print that in the official Olympic charter, so they say Rule 40 exists to, quote, preserve the unique nature of the Olympic Games by preventing over-commercialization. How's that working out?
As athletes around the world swim, hurdle, run, and bike their way to Rio, they choose Visa.
Bridgestone, worldwide Olympic partner of the Rio 2016 Olympic Games.
I'm Ryan Lochte.
I'm an Olympic athlete.
See the premiere of the new Rogue One trailer during Olympic coverage this Thursday.
Do summer like a winter Olympian. Have a Reese's.
Panasonic.
Bounty.
Atos.
McDonald's.
P&G.
The Craig Northrop team of Long & Foster Real Estate.
Over-commercialization is the unique nature of the Olympic Games. If an alien landed on Earth tomorrow and you were like, what are the Olympics? They'd say, well, it's that, and then really long interview questions from Bob Costas. The IOC actually modified Rule 40 last June after athletes complained they weren't able to profit from their sponsor relationships during the time when they were the most valuable. Under the new modified rule, they can technically participate in ad campaigns during the Olympics, but the restrictions on what or how or when the ads can run are so strict it's caused more harm than good. Just take a look at this list of some of the restricted words and phrases for unofficial sponsors. 2016, Rio de Janeiro, gold, silver, bronze, medal, effort, performance, challenge, summer, games, sponsors, victory, Olympia, Olympic, Olympics, Olympic Games, Olympiad, Olympiads, Citius, Altius, Fortius. Really? Citius, Altius? Well, there goes half my ad copy. And that's just not just for ads, that's across all platforms. Lisa Baird, Chief Marketing Officer for the USOC, sent a letter to unofficial sponsors just before the games, reminding them, quote, commercial entities may not post about the trials or games on their corporate social media accounts. This restriction includes the use of USOC's trademarks in hashtags such as hashtag Rio 2016 or hashtag Team USA. Listen, if we're gonna start legally cracking down on hashtags people have no right to use, can we start with hashtag no filter? Like, nice try, girl. I know that's Valencia, 60%. But this means if you're a brand and you sponsor an athlete in track and field or some other sport that doesn't get as much year-round press here as basketball, you can't even tweet them congratulations or go for the gold without risking a cease and desist from the USOC, or worse, disqualification for your athlete from the Olympics, which has brands rightfully pissed off. One brand, Brooks Running Company, decided to do something about it. They created the Twitter account @Rule40 to parody just how ridiculous these rules are, and they've been using it to tweet out hilariously compliant updates like, "Best of luck, you know who you are. As you prepare to compete, you know where." Which also happens to be the tagline for the new film, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Olympics. The point of Rule 40 is to keep what happened at the '96 Olympics from happening again. We all remember Michael Johnson and his golden Nike cleats, right? Unfortunately, the official sponsor that year was Reebok. So, Rule 40 protects the big brands that paid Reebok from the big brands that didn't, Nike. The problem is, it does so at the expense of all the smaller brands, which ultimately means it's at the expense of most of the athletes. See, the official Olympic sponsors donate huge amounts of money, but that money then has to trickle down through the convoluted system of governing bodies that make up the Olympic movement, and by the time it reaches the bottom, where the athletes are, there isn't much left for them. So these smaller companies, the ones that can't afford to be an official sponsor, give resources directly to athletes by sponsoring them. But now, during the 2 weeks every 4 years that athlete is in the spotlight, the brand isn't even allowed to congratulate the athlete on social media by name. So brands can either sponsor an athlete and hope they do well enough that they can see a return on their investment after the games are over, pay hundreds of millions of dollars to be an official sponsor, or just give up sponsoring Olympic athletes altogether because it's not worth it. And that's a scary possibility if you're a broke Olympic athlete. And sure, you might be saying, well, Katie, they could just do that really creative thing that Brooks did. I just want to be perfectly clear, that doesn't always work. This is a successful example. General Mills tried to get in on the Olympic action too, and it went horribly wrong.
Hi, I'm the honorary Real Tricks Rabbit. We're hosting the Rabbit Showdown. Send in a video of your bunny's amazing athletic talents to compete. Does your rabbit have what it takes to win it all? Go to rabbitshowdown.com.
So whatever that was didn't have any of those restricted words, but it also didn't have a point. Is that bong still around? I need that video to make sense. Listen, if I have to live in a world where we're forced to call the Bunny Olympics the Rabbit Showdown, well then I don't even know if this is the world I want to live in anymore. Thanks a lot, Rule 40.